Okay, welcome to part 2 of the Hobyking Mini Quad FPV colour. Basically, I've been doing a little bit of work whilst not filming. I've added all the wiring I need to add, the onboard voltage detector for the KK2. That simply goes to the positive of the power distribution board, nothing else. You don't need a neutral. The neutral is fed from any one of the speed controllers, and that provides you your circuit. Don't be tempted to put a neutral on this neutral line here. You probably will blow up your board. So what we're going to do now, obviously I'm taking into account that you probably read in the manual of the KK2 rather than me explain every single individual feature. But what I'm going to do is copy all the settings from my previous KK2 board, which was running these motors, prop and speed controller combination. Although it was a different frame, it should give me a good ballpark figure to start with. We push this one to go into the menu, and the first thing we need to do is configure the type of quad that we're using, and that is done in load motor layout, and scroll down until you see X mode, quadcopter X mode, and press enter. Are you sure? Yes, we are. And it shows you what I initially told you, that motor 1, 2, 3 and 4, that's how it needs to be wired along these pins here, one at the top. These are receiver ones. Then what you will need to do, if you're using a switch on your transmitter that you've put into the auxiliary, you need to then set up that, and that is done, I believe, in miscellaneous settings. No, it's not, sorry, in mode settings, and change this from what will be stick, change it to auxiliary. Then you will get your on and off control for your stabilize or no stabilize. I personally always fly in stabilize mode. Stick scaling, I've got 45, 35, 50 and 90. That is personal preference. I can't give you a setting for that as such. My PIDs for this Emax Motors speed controllers combination are 40 for P gain, 100 for P limit, I gain is 15, I limit is 20. That's for both aileron and elevator. My rudder is P gain 70, P limit 20, I gain 50, I limit 20. Okay, and then you obviously need to go into your receiver, which is receiver test it's called. At the moment it's going to say no signal because I haven't plugged one in, and I'm not sure you can see the small screen on the smaller board. Basically you need to check you have left and right, up and down, forwards, backwards, rudder and everything. It all comes up. Now if you have any plus or minus figures there, the way to dial those out is actually go into your sub trim of your radio and dial them until they get to 0. Okay, and then obviously if you want to change which way round your auxiliary switch goes, you can just reverse the channel. That's pretty much it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm literally just going to copy those settings into my board, and when I've totally finished, I like to just hit all the way down to the bottom, just above factory reset. You have debug. Now that just kind of refreshes it, everything, so it's not going to delete anything. Just press that a couple of times and debugs the system. That's it in terms of KK2 setup. Obviously make sure your radio is doing what it should be doing under the receiver settings. Make sure you're in the right type of quad X configuration. Oh, the other thing we can do while we're here, I normally do this on the field, if you go into stick scaling, and I like 45 on ailerons, 35 on pitch, My yaw is at 50, my throttle is at 90. I'm going to play around with the throttle settings as you know. I'm going to just do it now. Just turn out to 100. I don't know why it's 90. Okay, that's it. All set up and ready to fly. What I'm going to do next is just put the top deck on. Now this is my FPV camera in its mount. I've just literally tie wrapped that in because what I think I will be doing is making a video about how to make this tilt, so when we bring the quad forwards the camera tilts back instead of looking at the ground all the time. That might be a useful feature. I'm going to play with that over the next few weeks. Basically I'm using a let me show you my FPV gear. This is from banggood.com. I don't get any credit for buying it. I bought it out my own money. This is the set. Basically it's 200 milliwatts. FPV 200 set. Field of view 148 degrees. It came with a bog standard Doppler aerial. I don't like them personally, they don't give you much range, so I'm just going to borrow this one, which is my Boscom one. This setup runs on the RP SMA type connectors, so not just the SMA but the RP SMA. I've also put a 90 on there, which you'll see in a moment when I switch on. I've got a few old 5-volt LEDs which I put on the back because I love the quad videos when you see them having tail lights, so it's quite a bright light. So that's just 5 volts off the receiver. Okay, before I close the top, one thing I wanted to show you, which is quite important to do with any quad, especially one with the KK2 board, and that is, firstly, remove your props. Do not do this with your props on. They could start up, they will hurt you, and trust me from experience, I've had them start up on full throttle and it's not very pleasant. Okay, so this is what you've got to do. Now if you've got 2 people, really good. I don't have 2 people right now. So what you have to do is have your transmitter on full throttle. Okay, I'm not sure if you can see that in screen, but put full throttle on. This is why it's quite important to so we're on full throttle. This is why it's quite important to keep your props off. We have to plug in the battery and hold down the 2 outer buttons on the KK2 board. That's the outer buttons, these 2. So you need to push and hold those and plug in the power with your transmitter on full throttle. It will then say throttle bypass and bleep. You then lower the throttle and it will double beep. That is calibrating all 4 speed controllers, so when you punch full throttle you don't get anything crazy happening. All engines work at the same and you get much better climb outs. I've had them where they're a little bit out and it can be a bit of a pain, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to show you how to do it with only 1 person, exactly why I've taken my props off. But basically you plug this in and you've got about 1 second to get to the 2 buttons and push and hold. You'll hear the beeps. Okay, it says throttle bypass. Now it beep once, we close the throttle, we hear a double beep and an activation, and now we can let go. Okay, that's how to calibrate the KK2 board. Works for the same for the 2.1, works for the same for the Mini as well. Okay, what I'm going to do, because I just had a quick tiny little fly and I find that it's a little bit wobbly, so I'm just going to reduce by 10 on the eye limit and see how that goes. Now this is one of the drawbacks of this quad, that you need to take the entire top off, which is 8 screws, just to make any adjustments on the board. What I'm tempted to do is actually angle the screen, because it's only held back with double-sided tape. Angle the screen to about that, so I can actually see what buttons I'm actually pressing. I might use just a tiny little bit depth on or something like that, just to keep the screen up, because it's virtually impossible to see what you're pressing really, so that might be well worth you doing. Okay, so again I'm just going to put the top on, make that screen adjustment, and then I'll give you a 360 of the quad and what it looks like. We're all finished. Okay. Pretty much it really. I did stay with the original on the top speed controllers because I think protection against airflow, we're going to risk it on the top, I think. Right, so I'm going to just put the top on and then show you the quad and then we'll go fly it. Right. Okay, so we're all done with the build, we've done all the wiring, and the quad is finished and ready for flight testing. Here it is. Nice little quad, tidy, looks nice, all the wires are in, nothing's going to get hurt. So yeah, I'm really pleased with the way it come out. It's a good kit to work with. I'm very pleased that Hobyking has supplied upgrade parts. Keep them for spares. The older ones. Looks to be like a really good quad. So yeah, so what we're going to do now, we're going to fly it and we're going to tune it and enjoy it. So good luck, have fun, happy flying, and enjoy the rest of the video.
Okay, so we're down at my local field. It's just a rugby patch. Basically, it's got the Hobyking FPV transmitter and all my FPV gear. I'll give you a quick tour of my FPV gear. Basically, it's a tripod and box. I've got an LCD screen on the top. Now you'll notice there's two aerials. What those two aerials are is one is your normal receiver with a circularized polarized aerial on, and the other one's got the patch antenna on. Now how does that work? You'll notice at the top there's also an SD DVR recorder. There's a diversity module inside and it picks which has the greater signal through RSSI. Have a look at those things if you don't know what those mean. And then basically the screen is used for playing back through the DVR to see what I recorded. What you have here is basically the Quantum FPV screen Mark 1. It's got a 4-inch screen in there with a lens which makes the screen much bigger. Really good set. I've basically put a pair of ski goggles on the top and a set the top strap. And that literally goes into me AV outs. Really good screen, love FPVing on this. Look a bit silly, but quite frankly I don't care. That's it basically. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you the quad flying first and then we're going to go on FPV. Okay, so I'll show you. Also, for those that are new to the KK2 board, this is the arming procedure. What you basically need to do is hold right rudder until you get a beep, and then you're ready. I made no adjustment to this quad other than what I told you in the video. Hopefully I'm in frame, I might not be. That red light is absolutely brilliant on there. So yeah, I mean there's still a little bit of wobble. There you go, that's a little bit of wobble there. We just reduce the I gain and the P gain should reduce that. Now, as I was telling you before about how it reacts, just quickly left and right, and how quick does it stop is how quick you want it. Now this one's quite sharp really. It is a bit windy out here, not particularly that much, but probably a good sort of 7 mile/h wind. Still relatively controllable. And that's it really. I mean, KK2 board does a wonderful job of sorting everything out. So let's have a quick fly around the screen, hopefully you'll get this in shot. But like I say, these quads, this particular quad is more about FPVing, so I might have to sort this wobble out. See, once it's actually moving forwards, it's a lot more controllable. So it's not really about hovering as such, it's about getting this thing moving. If you want more of a stable platform, then yes, the KK2 can do that, but it does take some tuning to do that. I'm not that bothered. I mean, other boards that I use are the APM. They do a mini board of that, which is pretty good. You get to send telemetry to it mid-flight, which is fine. but I'm not looking for GPS hold or altitude hold or anything like that. I've got quite a big wind coming in from the right hand side of the screen there. But this is pretty much hands off, so we're moving forwards a little bit. I don't mind that positive, at least I'm not moving back. And left and right, yeah, I can live with that. So I deal with that mid-flight. I mean, this thing's going to absolutely move when I start pushing the sticks more forward. Okay, so I'm not going to waste too much battery on the hover. I'm going to move straight over to FPV. Deactivate is full left on the rudder. Don't forget I was flying all that in stability mode. Although the main PID settings were important, the stabilised settings are also important if you're going to fly around stabilised settings. Okay, so enough with this camera now. Switch over to it.
Hene ko waka, ko ale apa, e me ama ia, for you and I. Hene ko waka, ko ale apa, e me ama ia, for you and I. Kawila ma keneki, honi oni ko kino, e me ama ia, for you and I. Ikako ako mako, ayana ika pipistu, e me ama ia, for you and I. Ikaka ako mako, ayana ika bistu, e me ama ia, for you and I. Waikiki mako, ayana ikeke, he me ama ia, for you and I. Waikiki mako, ayana ikeke, he me ama ia, for you and I. Ikapahulu mako, ayana ilipoa, e me ama ia, for you and I. Ikapahulu mako, ayana ilipoa, e me ama ia, for you and I. Our lips have met, our eyes not yet. You make me wait for you and I. Haina mai habuana, ho hale apa, he me ama ia, for you and I. I know. Haina mai kapuana, ko ale apa, ame ama ia, for you and I, for you and I, for I and you. and for all them 2, and all them 3, and all them 4, and all them 5, 6, 7, and 8, 9, 10, 11 again.